Hello everyone, Matt Maker here with my first class setup guide of many. And I kind of want to start off with something that is not used very much in Black Ops 2 and try to make it a bit better. I kind of think of it as a really good, actually camper buster class or sniper buster class, because a lot of this game is centered around people camping with their snipers or target finder scopes. And I made this class, and I've just been destroying people who sit still and anyone. Basically, it's actually an amazing class. I really would recommend giving it a go. The LMGs are not very used in this game. They're not very popular, even though they should be. And this class up is really good. So let's get into this. So I am using primary gunfighter because I like to take advantage of it, especially with the LMGs. It's really good to get the most attachments that you can because they're kind of built around the attachments. It's hard to use them without them. Um, and the LMGs are the only things in the game that are actually, they probably kill faster at a range, which is actually amazing, and that's why I have these attachments. So let's start with quick draw. That's basically probably the most important. If you are making any LMG class, you kind of have to have quick draw if you want to be successful, because otherwise it takes ages to look down the sights, and especially when you're using a different scope other than iron sights, you're going to want to be able to look into your sights fast so you don't miss your opportunities. And yeah, it's definitely a must-have if you're using any LMG, not just this class, but any of them. So that's why I have that, and that's kind of the reason I have primary gunfighter, just to fit that in. Otherwise, I have FMJ and target finder. Now, the target finder, you could use any scope. You could use, let's see, I haven't unlocked too much stuff yet. You could use ED Tech if you don't want to feel like a noob and use the target finder. I only have it because then it shows the people who are camping far away, and you can just kill them before they get you. If you're gonna use the ACOG, you should just use the hybrid optic because it has the other little reflex sight on top, which is pretty awesome. The dual band, I don't know. I think the recoil is just a little too noticeable when you're using something that far. It's the same with the zoom. And if you were going to be using a scope, then use the dual band because you can see your enemies better, which is kind of the whole purpose of it. You don't need extended clip because it's already got 100. And you don't need a grip because it's very low recoil. If you look at the stats, it's very even, you could say. But that actually turns out to be a very good thing when you're going for distance because the damage is relatively high and the range and accuracy are relatively high as well. So you're able to get pretty clean kills, whereas the others can't really do that. So, and then for perks, I use Hardline, Toughness, and Engineer. Now, Hardline I use because I run pretty high kill streaks with this gun. I run Hellstorm, Stealth Chopper, and Escort Drone, which are a bit on the higher scale. And when you have them, it's definitely more aggressive kill streaks. And if you have the Stealth Chopper and the Escort Drone up at the same time, you just kind of destroy the other team because it's whether or not your Stealth Chopper or your Escort Drone is getting the kills, you just destroy. Toughness, because if you saw my perk video about toughness, that will explain why. And also, when you're going for distance, you definitely want toughness, because if you're getting shot, your placement's going to be way off and you're not going to get the kill. So toughness is really important to have with this perk, or this gun. You don't need scavenger, it has a ton of extra ammo. You're probably not going to run out, which is good. Engineer I have because if you're running into campers, like, you can also rush in with this gun. It fires pretty nicely and kills relatively fast, especially with the FMJ. You can shoot through most walls and objects, because the LMGs, that's really what it's built for, FMJ. It's not very noticeable when you put it on anything else, but on the LMGs, you can shoot through very thick surfaces and get kills. And Engineer, you can just, if you're rushing in somewhere, you can see if someone has a bouncing Betty or a shock charge on the ground. And then for Lethal and Tactical, I have Bouncing Betty and Shock Charge. I think that these are the two best, especially if you think someone's following you, you just put it on the ground in front of a building that you're running into, and you can stop them right in their tracks. So that's about it for the class setup. I'll get to the gameplay, but I haven't really talked too much about the FMJ. So the FMJ, I kind of forgot when I was talking about the attachments. When you're going for long range and people are camping in one spot and they try to move behind a wall, the FMJ allows you to shoot through that wall and hit them so that they can't do that, and you finish them off nice and easy so that they're gone. Most people wouldn't think of a class like this as a camper buster, but you're going to see in the gameplay how that actually works out. So I'm going to get to the gameplay now, and then I'll see you guys then to explain everything in more detail. Okay, so here we have the gameplay with the LSAT. As you can see, I'm running the Hellstorm, the Stealth Chopper, and the Escort Drone. And I'm going to come up here and just kind of show you an example of how it's a camper buster. This is the perfect game for it, because basically the whole other team was just camping in this house up on the left, and I was able to just destroy them with this class setup. They really didn't see what was coming and got wrecked. So as you can see, I kind of shot through the tank siding there with the LSAT, and there was someone else there, but you're going to see a lot of times where the FMJ comes in handy and I get through walls and all that. And the target finder is pretty handy too, because like I was saying earlier, you can use any other scope, but if you want to be able to see your targets from far away, you're really going to want the target finder. And unfortunately I had to reload. That is one of the downfalls of using this class. There's no faster reload, and it takes a while to reload, quite honestly. The hammer and the QBB have much faster reload times compared to the LSAT and the MK48, and that's kind of a turnoff, but it's worth it. You don't have to reload every time, and you can kind of spray. Like, see, I have 76 shots, and I'm just not really spraying, and I get a nice triple right there. Just kind of destroyed those guys, and that's kind of a big part of the extended clip, is you can spray multiple people. You don't have to worry about your magazine running out when you're halfway through a feed, and then you have to reload or whatever. That's one nice thing about all the LMGs, is you don't have to worry as much about reloading. That guy there, I was not able to see with my target finder, which kind of sucks. He was camping with his target finder, and that's a good example of how you can neglect the target finder, because I am personally very, very against the target finder for camping and all that use, because that's all anyone does with it is camp in this game. But the way I'm using it is really a good way to use it, because you're eliminating the camper problem when you do it, because right here it's kind of slow, but I pick it up at the end and just completely dominate them, and then I get all my kill streaks called in, and that basically settles the game. And as you can see, you're going to see several times how the hip fire is actually quite good, and if you are running into a room with it, you can just kind of spray from the hip and eliminate your enemies quite easily. Because I know the target finder is not perfect at close range, and that's where the hybrid optic would be a good alternative, because you can just flip on the normal reflex if you're close up and get a more accurate shot. And as you see, I'm just kind of scanning here because those guys were up there camping on the roof, and basically the entire team is in that house, in the room, camping in some way. I would never have seen them without the target finder, and they would have probably destroyed our team. But if you look at the score, that's obviously not what's happening. They're getting destroyed, which is good. That's the desired result when you have campers. And there I'm trying to shoot through the wall, but he had ducked down, so I wasn't able to hit him. Even with the FMJ, but if he were standing up, I would have been able to shoot him through that wall. Because the FMJ can shoot through some pretty thick walls, especially if you were to use this on like a map like Hijacked. How everyone goes in that little room in the middle, you can just shoot through the walls, and as you can see, that's where a lot of the team was in that building, like I was saying earlier. And they're just kind of going to respawn and go and camp again. Alright, see, that guy's trying to get back to the spot. So, the LSAT I'm starting to think is more of the best LMG, because otherwise the QBB is pretty good, but you can't get any range with it, which is kind of the desired effect of an LMG. And the hammer just, I don't know, I thought it was good at first, but lately it's just been a bit underpowered. I haven't been able to do too much with it. And the MK48 and the LSAT are both really good. I would give them a go. The MK48 you could probably run the same class and get a bit more range, or you could do some different attachments, because its iron sights are quite amazing, and you don't need a grip, because its accuracy is just everything, which is quite awesome. As you can see, I kind of wallbang that guy with the FMJ, and here's where I just get all my kill streaks and kind of destroy. See, that's a good example of the hip firing, and aggressive kill streaks are important when using this. You can go support, but if you're really going to destroy the campers, you're not going to want support, because odds are if they're hardcore camping, they're prepared to get away from all the support kill streaks. But if you go on the offensive, they're not going to know what hit them, and they're going to get destroyed. Especially like what I was saying in the class setup earlier, with escort drone and stealth chopper in the air at the same time, you're just going to destroy, and they won't, even in buildings, they just get destroyed. Outside, the stealth chopper gets them, they don't know what's coming, and then inside, the escort drone is really good at hitting them through windows and walls, and it's programmed quite nicely by Treyarch, actually, of being more, more realistic, because in other games, all you had to do was go inside any building, and no air support could really hit you, but they did a good job with the escort drone, because it can really get through into the buildings, which really disrupts camper teams. And the stealth chopper's just going at it here. The escort drone does a nice job too. And I get random nated for that death, which was kind of disappointing. I wasn't too happy about that. And as you can see, like I was talking about earlier, you don't need scavenger. The ammo is quite good. Odds are you're not going to run out, and if you do, just pick up someone else's gun. And that's about it for this class setup. As you can see, I went 35 for 5, a 7.0 KD ratio, which is pretty amazing, I think, especially for a gun that's not very popular. So please hit that like button. It really means a lot and helps out. And subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back with more class setups soon, so thank you.